Hello and welcome to Red Cloud Oktoberfest. I'm Sebastian DeClute, Senior Vice President of Marketing here at Red Cloud Financial Services. And I've got the distinct pleasure today of introducing Robin Birchall, who is the CEO of Giyani Metals, who is developing manganese project in Botswana. So if you ever want to play the manganese market, this is definitely one of the best ways to do it. Thank you for joining us, Robin.
Thanks, Sebastian. Yeah, good afternoon to everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I'll run you through this quickly, hopefully leave some time for some questions at the end. Standard cautionary note, just executive summary on us. So we are focused purely on the high manganese space. Manganese salt, you can see on the right-hand side there, it's the white-colored table salt looking thing. It's often pink colored, and we are in the front end of the supply chain before you get to the actual battery and vehicle manufacturers. So look, we have great economics, relatively low capital, and the throughput is reasonable for now, but with some of the resource upgrades that we're going through at the moment, we'll see that rising significantly. Just moving on, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the chemistry. I'm assuming people understand that or have been spoken to about that. We're in the purely in the battery space, NMC and NMX or LMNO, LMO batteries. They make up probably 75 to 80% of the market. Very significant demand shortfall forecast as we go forwards. These are old numbers. Expecting these numbers to be considerably bigger as the likes of Stellantis, Volkswagen, Tesla focus on manganese-rich chemistries. Just a little bit on the, most of this is being dictated to us by the rest of the market. So, you know, our carbon footprint and the regulatory position of manganese and EVs is really being driven by regulatory changes in the developed world and in China. And that's what's driving people towards us as a non-Chinese producer of the cathode precursor in the NMC space. Botswana, again, I won't speak a lot about this, but it's a you know, for some people who don't know it very well, a lot of mining investors do because of the diamonds and the copper and previously nickel. It's you know, it's very highly ranked from a transparency perspective. It's actually almost a high-income country. There's no government you know, BE or anything like that. Taxation is pretty reasonable. We'll get a 5-year tax holiday because we're manufacturing. And it's convertible currency with investment grade rating for its bond. Coming on to our portfolio and our projects itself, we have 3 main projects, K.HILL, Oktoberfest, Labatsa. You can see here we are in the bottom right corner, Botswana, which is about where the bulk of the population is. It's kind of like the 401 corridor of the country with most of the infrastructure, road, rail, international airport downtown. That gives us access to about 7 ports. Crucially, we have the Walvis Bay on the west coast there that can take us to Europe, and then on the east coast we've got Richards Bay, Durban, and if we need Maputo, and if we need Port Elizabeth. Infrastructure is excellent. Power line, the 133 kVA line is about 10 to 15 kilometers away. The 33 kVA line is about 200 or 300 meters from where we need it. Roads are tarred and excellent quality. The project economics are excellent. These are very dated now. We are in the process. We've announced yesterday the reserve, obviously, or updated the 43-101 for the reserves. These will flow through into this quite significantly. This is based on 1.7 million tons. We now have 3, and as I move forward, you can see that we will have considerably more from other areas. You know, on a peer basis, I'll leave this for you guys to look at. On a peer basis, we have a very high potential value, but and a very low capital intensity. So, you know, our NPV per resource ton is extremely high, and we're doubling, and we'll hopefully double again the resource base. Again, if you look at us compared with our peers, NPV to resource is extremely high. We've used a mix of different battery metals here to give you a really good idea of this. And our profitability, like our margin is enormous relative to some of our peers, and we've done it on a gold and a copper basis to make people understand what it kind of looks like. Our all-in sustaining cost would be very, very low on a gold or a copper basis. And you can see what our equivalent kind of production would be, which would be pretty decent size. And this is at the much lower level of the PEA from April of earlier this year. Just moving on nice and quickly. So we've updated the resource, and we have a maiden reserve. We'll be updating that hopefully again in very, very shortly with the K.HILL extension. I would expect kind of similar amounts of tons going forwards. You can see here the kidney-shaped area, that's the existing resource with the main zone and the B horizon. And down here in the south, where we announced a little bit of stuff yesterday, we have much thicker intersects. I would expect a significant number of tons coming from that, probably equal to what we have in the north section. And we're in the drilling at the moment of, I would say we promised everybody we would do this. We're going pretty well there. We've done, I think, 8 or 9 holes. We'll hopefully get another 10 done in the next 7 days or so. And I'll have a much better idea on the grade and the and what the arm wave on the tons there are. But again, looking forward to that. It'll bring us significant tons upside. Demonstration plant is progressing quite nicely. It's waiting for the final metallurgical test work to be done in the next week or two here. Once that's done, the process flow can be finalized and we can sign the contract. Project timeline, you can see we are working on what to do in terms of feasibility or to do a PEA update, or whether to do a feasibility and then optimize it. Because of all these extra tons, we need to increase the throughput of the plant and be able to avail ourselves of those, all of that extra cash flow that comes from increasing the scope. ESG, extremely important to us. It's a new slide actually in the presentation, because we do a lot on the ESG, but we haven't been in sort of keeping people appraised of it. But our community engagement is very good. You can see, I think, whoops, if we go back a slide here, the second from the first from the right is the HOSI, or the paramount chief of the area, and the second from the right is the MP for the area, and he is highly educated, PhD in epidemiology. So we deal with highly skilled, literate, competent politicians in country. Just looking at the board here, we have added Stephanie Hart recently. We wanted to balance our board a little bit better. And then we have the Menzies board, which is where our local representation is extremely important. Tuso is a very good friend of Mike Jones's, where they worked together in the late 80s, early 90s at BOTSWANA. And Tuso actually took over Mike's job from me. He was the first non-white mine manager at one of the very large diamond mines in Botswana. And then we have Nape and Maureen, very skilled, highly educated, multi-years of experience. So that that explains why our ESIA process has been pretty smooth, and why our process with the Department of Mines and the Ministry of Mines has been pretty smooth as well. We have beefed up our team recently as well. We've added both in the finance department, as well as made Marion, who's our VP ESG full-time, added George as VP Business Development. And earlier in the year we added Dirk and Eugene. Eugene was a director before, but stepped down to become CFO. 6 minutes left. Share price performance has been okay recently. We had a big seller in the market the last few days. That seller's gone, so the stock has bumped up quite considerably in the last couple of days of trading. We have quite a few more institutional holders than this. Pathfinder is a holder as well. Charleston Capital is a holder. So we have about 70-30 split between North America and the rest of the world. Those guys would expect to fund our next steps as we go towards the breaking ground in next year. And that's basically it, Seb. I've given you 5 minutes here for some questions. We do have a few slides in the appendices, what we've achieved previously, which is a lot, what the deposit currently looks like. That's going to change. Some slides on what the layout will look like, what the process flow is, some stuff on our move to net zero and our power plant, and then some stuff on manganese batteries, so you can work out how many tons you think are going to be in the market. But I'll turn it over to you, Seb, for some questions.
Perfect. And maybe we can stay on those slides there, because the first question that I have sort of talks to the manganese market versus the runs that we've seen in lithium and uranium, which is hopefully going to power this EV change. What do you think that the market is missing as far as the manganese story, and what would you give them as the biggest takeaway that they need to understand?
Well, I mean, they just need to do a bit of learning about it and understand that with nickel and cobalt, without manganese, there's no batteries. And I mean, it's hard to find a price, but you go to Shanghai Metal Market, the price is up from like $900 a ton to $1,500. It's all-time highest price at the moment. And it doesn't look like it's going anywhere else but up. And, you know, we model on 1588, it's trading at 1516 long term. If you compare that to what people can use for gold or copper, you know, they would be using something equivalent to $2,200 a ton. If I put $2,200 a ton in, our NPV of 330 probably goes to 550 US. So it's just understanding in the market. It's education that you guys do, that we do on the market, and understanding that it's the cheapest component of the battery, but without it, there is no battery. And a number of very large manufacturers, Stellantis included, Tesla, Volkswagen, their mid-market segment, which is the biggest by volume, is going to go to manganese-rich cathodes. We've been told that by them. We've been told it by the cathode manufacturers. We've been told it by the battery manufacturers. It's coming down the track, and that's clearly what's driving the increase in prices. But it still doesn't matter to them, because it's only 2 to 4% of the battery pack. And you know, if you think about it, like, we're going to all have to learn this. If you look at a vehicle, an ID3, or if you say you look at a Golf GTI, you know, quite a popular car in Canada, is it a 1.8? Is it a 2 liter? Is it 2.5? What is it, right? Well, who cares about that anymore? What you need to know is a 35, a 45, or 55 kilowatt, or do you get like the super big 65 kilowatt hour? And then you multiply that by $100 a kilowatt hour. That's how much that battery pack is costing to put in the vehicle. So pushing down that price by making these manganese rich is what it's all about for them.
And the other question is sort of with regards to the Canadian market. Does each battery have a different perform differently in Canadian type weather?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess Canadian weather is about the same as Norway or Sweden, and you're seeing, well, 50% of all new vehicles sold in Norway, probably for the last year, have been EVs. So I don't know. I guess if you you know, if you drive a internal combustion engine car in Canada, you either have to put it inside overnight, or you have to plug it into a block warmer. So what's the difference? You know, very cold weather affects vehicles, and you do have to take care of it. But you know, we seem to be able to put block warmers or indoor parking everywhere in Edmonton. I don't think it'll be a problem for EVs.
Can you just quickly, before we end off here, let us know what the sort of the near-term catalysts or news releases that can be expected in the next months for shareholders?
Yeah, update for resource for K.HILL extension, finalization of metallurgical test work, either a decision to do the feasibility or to do a PEA update. Yeah, we have, and then the drilling results at OSE. We got lots of really, really good news in front of us. You've seen, you know, we doubled our resource yesterday, and announced a reserve. be hoping to get other resource out on or add to the resource through K.HILL extension, and maybe we can get one on OTSE, but we'll at least get the drill results so you can put have an arm wave on it. And then there's the fees and the met test work. So we'll finalize those capital numbers in the not too distant future. So it's all, lots of great news coming.
That's awesome. And looks like you've had some good meetings today. Stock's up 6 cents. So very well done there. And keep an eye on this story, everybody. It's one that you're going to want to pay attention to. Thanks very much, Rob.
Thanks very much, Seth.